waking life and dreams.
Can I tell you a secret?
Your mind is a pendulum, swinging between realities.
Your identities are not something to be feared, but something to be welcomed.
This is the worst day of my life.
Marvel Studios.
Who is Moonknight? Thank you for joining us here on Lastingaming, and I'm going to be discussing some Moonknight, the Werewolf by Night, first comic appearance. So, as we jump into Moonknight, we first need to say he has DID, Dissociative Identity Disorder. So, he has alter egos. He is Mark Spector, but he also consists of Stephen Grant, Jake Lockley, and his inner child. Moonknight is a very complex character. I mean very complex. He has died numerous times, but his first death back whenever he was a Force Recon Marine, but he did briefly work as a CIA operative, as Mark Spector. He was being left for dead after fighting Bushman. He has a lot of villains, guys, a lot of different villains, as you can see on there. We'll talk about a few of the villains, but he was being left for dead. He climbed to the tomb, where the Egyptian mood god came to him and gave him his Moonknight abilities, the left fist of, I cannot pronounce that name, so I'm not even going to try to pronounce the name, guys. It's in the show, and I'm sorry, but I'm not good with names. But he was left for dead, and he got Moonknight's powers, and therefore he was the left fist. Now, he does have the billionaire businessman Stephen Grant in the comics, the taxicab driver Jake Lockley, and the suited consultant Mr. Knight. We've seen, I think, all of these in the Moonknight show, but we're getting a different version of them from the comics, as we can see with the Mr. Knight and the billionaires, because we're not seeing any of that money yet. Doesn't mean he does not have it. But anyways, he has been a very standout comic book character. In Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe, he is one of my favorite characters in there, although he's in there with the Punisher, and they're basically detectives, because he is the greatest detective in the Marvel world, compared to much like Batman in the DC world. Talking about the villains, Bushman was his original foe. Amit, Arthur Harrow, the Boogeyman, Hobgoblin, Zodiac are just a few of the awesome villains that he goes up against. His abilities, he is an Olympic level athlete. He has extreme high level for pain and torture, as we've seen all these in the show. He has his daggers in the show, the shape of the crescent moon. He doesn't really have too many supernatural abilities in the comics. He does, but he doesn't, if that makes sense. There's so many different variables and so much different. If you really need to get into it, you should check out the Essential Moonknight Volume 1. It came out in February of 2006. It is a comic well worth checking out. I also suggest the Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe, because that is just great. And also in Marvel Zombies, Deadpool did kill Moonknight, which a lot of people want to say, yes, well, Moonknight was turned into a zombie, and Deadpool did chop his head off. So there is a lot going on there. A lot going on with his identities, a lot going on with his mental stability, if he really has any. And in the Marvel comics, a lot of the superheroes just thought he was completely insane. He has had run-ins with the X-Men, run-ins, as I've said before, with Deadpool, the Punisher, his great fight with the Bushman, his transformation. He's had so many awesome fights in there. We really haven't got to get a good look at the billionaire businessman Stephen Grant as he is in the comics. He is so much different in the show. I do love his version in the show. And if you're following that show in episode 5, this is a spoiler. We do see Stephen Grant die as Mark goes on to the Field of Reeds. We haven't got to see the taxicab driver Jake Lockley at all, although we know he was probably locked up inside that tomb in the show. In the comics, you get a lot more. But in the comics, you just get to follow who you love. And as I was saying, The Werewolf by Night, number 32, came out in August 75, and that was his first appearance ever in the comics, ever anywhere. He has worked alongside Spider-Man. And a little fun fact about Moonknight, Taskmaster, as a lot of people have seen in Black Widow or the Spider-Man video game, He is one of my favorite villains, anti-heroes, whatever you want to say. He has went on record stating that he will never learn the fighting style of Moonknight because Mark sometimes likes to take a punch to get in close, as Taskmaster does not ever feel it necessary to take in a punch just to get that close. Moonknight is a beast, ladies and gentlemen. He is a fantastic comic book character, and I'm so happy to see him brought to life, and I'm so happy to see a lot of people getting to know who Moonknight is. The interest in Moonknight is growing rapidly, and it is great. The comic book sales are going up. They're skyrocketing right now, so it is the time to get out to your Barnes & Noble or get out wherever you get it, your local comic book shop if you're like me. That is what I suggest you do. And this has been Lastingaming. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button for me, please. A like is always appreciated. You guys are helping me out greatly. We're growing.
Mark, I'm here to help you. Do you think that you created Stephen to hide from all of the awful things you've done? Your identities are not something to be feared, but something to be welcomed.
Stephen, I know you're scared. Hello, man in the mirror. I know you're confused. What are you? You sure you want to know? I promise I will repay my debt for all the things I've done.
We'll fight together.
I have to finish this.
Had Ahmed been allowed to rule, young Randall's life would have been saved. Your family would have been happy. You need only remove one weed from the garden. You